Welcome, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the intro to MegaMan X6. My name is Penny. You probably know me from online somewhere, and this is a test run at doing a Let's Play, something I've been interested in potentially doing for quite a while now. This game in particular is I thought would be perfect to try it out because this is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Like, it is most certainly the game I have played the most, I think, if you count, like, just raw number of playthroughs. Like, I've been playing this game since I was 4 years old. And it is an interesting game. Many who are aware of this game's reputation are probably eyes wide at hearing that, I've been playing this for so long, that I've been playing this since I was 4 years old. But I thought it'd be great to just try and take a crack at doing a Let's Play this way. We can go ahead and get started. I'm going to put in a code for us. Don't worry about it till later. But we're going to get started. There's going to be some cutscenes, so I'll let those play out.
一体何が起こったんだ。コロニー落下は阻止できたと聞いたな。これでは失敗したのと同じ。滅亡を免れただけ良かったとでも言うのか。それだけじゃない。何かが起ころうとしている。この胸騒ぎは一体。これは何かの破片だな。ここで激しい戦いでもあったのか。一体どれだけの人間やレプリロイドが犠牲になったんだろう。待ってよ。これはついに完成したぞ。この冷静な僕があまりのことにおかしくなってしまいそうだ。いけない。これからなんだ。今までこの僕の研究を理解すらできなかった奴らを。そう。この世の下等なレプリロイドたちすべてを僕の元に服従させるために。できるぞ。レプリロイドだけの理想の世界。僕が全てを支配する素晴らしい世界が。目を覚ませ X。 今はお前しかいないんだ。お前が戦わなければ誰が戦う。早く目を覚ますんだ X。
巨大なメカニロイドが暴れているの。詳しいことは後よ。現場に急行して。
Okay, so here we go. Intro stage to the game. Now, you might have become aware of some things about this game from that intro cutscene, but in many ways, both on the development and the localization side, MegaMan X6 was a rushed game. It came out pretty much almost exactly a year after X5, I want to say. It's within that range. And it is a much maligned game in this series just due to being this kind of rushed. The view is that it's a cash grab, or that it's unfinished and broken, untested. I mean, maybe those things are true. I don't particularly care whether they're true. The thing for me is that I think this game is a fascinating game. And I was thinking to myself about, what do I want to do with the idea of doing Let's Plays? I mean, I'm someone who is very reserved. I mean, I don't I don't talk too much, you know. If you know me online, I'm not like a habitual poster or anything like that necessarily on social media, but I do love to like talk about games and to show people things. That is the thing that is most interesting to me. I like to show people things that they've probably not seen before, or to just poke at something weird, something that, you know, people don't give due consideration to. I love playing bad, broken games, kusoge, whatever the term du jour is that people use for describing games that are often maligned and not following a lot of like typical structures that people might expect for a games that are broken way too hard. Just we'll see as we go through X6 why some of these things may apply. But I would stream games in Discord servers a lot. The thing that really inspired me was playing a game called Guardian of Darkness by Cryo Interactive. This was a PS1 port of a PC game. It's an adventure game about being an exorcist, and it is a fascinating game, very ambitious, very just weird in a lot of ways. It's also extremely funny. It is a game that gets described, Cryo's output in general gets described as Eurojank, which is a term I don't really like using because I find it very condescending, but it is a game that is buckling under its own weight constantly. It has a bunch of systems, a lot of moving parts in terms of like NPCs, enemies, things you have to interact with to do like adventure game puzzles with combat in between. And it is a game that, you know, you can very easily soft lock. It was a game I had to use a lot of save states through, game that I had to use walkthroughs to know what to do. But it really just inspired me of how just weird and fascinating like a lot of games get. And like it's incredibly hilarious too. There's a scene in that game, for instance, where you're like having to like basically energy blast a baby because it's possessed by a demon, and you murder that child doing that. It is a weird game. Highly recommend checking it out. I have a playthrough on my channel. I should probably make that public to people, but yeah. So games like that, I'm fascinated with those. I want to show people games like that. So I think I'm gonna try and do Let's Plays to do that. But we're gonna use X6 as the test run and see how well I handle even doing that. Yeah, X6, the translation, it's going to be very weird. A lot of the dialogue is going to be like almost machine translated, kind of feeling like that kind of garbage. But it's weird story, not very good, probably, but it was something that really fascinated me as a child, because this was like one of my first platformers, one of my first games ever. So we'll get started with that. So I'll go ahead and just read the dialogue boxes, but, you know, most of the mechanoloids became mavericks. It's been a long time. Stay alert, X. I'll be fine since I have the armor and saber. I'm just gonna, since I fixed the Falcon armor very quickly, the dash function is incomplete. Alright. Anyway, I will stop the mechanoloids. Okay, go to the entrance to the ruins ahead. So yeah, this is X6. If you've played a MegaMan X game, you know how these play. This is set after MegaMan X5. As you saw in the intro cutscene, Zero was tragically sacrificed in the fight against Sigma, and this game is following up from that and showing you the fallout of that, essentially, with a new story. And so, I'm not going to read these pop-ups, but essentially, X has received Zero's saber in that time, and that is basically one of the biggest new abilities that X has. So he can use this sword, and you have to use it to break some of these obstacles that X's Buster, you know, won't be able to break through. All the PlayStation MegaMan X games, you know, I've really enjoyed them. Well, 5, not so much, but, you know, you really just go all in on very lush sprite work and these incredible pre-rendered backgrounds. Just very gorgeous games to look at. So we're actually about done with this preview stage. We got a little cutscene here. There you are. Are you all right? Beyond here is a giant mechanoid. It suddenly activated due to a radio wave problem. We are afraid and we got hurt. I'll take care of this. Return to the Hunter base now. Alright, it acts like it's possessed. Be careful. So yeah, we'll get our first boss. So yeah, this boss, you know, it's got this little radio beacon that's powering it, so what you have to do is stop it from moving so that you can reach out to this thing. Pretty easy. Taking damage here is not really gonna matter. Oh, missed that one. There we go. Simple. But then what happens? Oh. Zero. Thought he was dead. You'll see as we go through that this game, it's Zero. And what the? Another boss fight. I knew Zero was doing this. Who are you? Hi, Max, I am called. I'm investigating the Zero Nightmare. What? Did you say the Zero Nightmare? What are you trying to do? What is your connection to the Zero Nightmare? What about Zero? You're behind this. You're dangerous. I'll dispose of you. So now we're fighting Hi, Max. But you'll notice immediately that we cannot damage this guy. So this is not a fight that we're actually going to win. We're just going to take damage. And it's going to end the fight because this is not one you can win. Maverick Hunter, not amazing. We will destroy the Zero Nightmare. You are not wanted here. Keep out. I could not inflict any damage on him. Hi, Max, the Zero Nightmare. Did I dream about Zero? What is happening? And so, when you finish the stage, you get to the report screen. It gives you your stats on how, you know, your level went. All the other things are going to get filled out a little more once we actually get to real levels. But for now, that's all we get to see. Quickly save, and we're going to have some more cutscenes.
すでに知っておるかと思うが、今各地で不可解な現象が起きている。我々はその現象をナイトメアと呼ぶことにした。それは人間っていうところの夢、いや、悪夢に似た幻をレプリロイドに見せることによって混乱させ、ひどい時には暴走を始めたり、自らをデリートしてしまうこともある。先のスペースコロニー落下事故により、地上に残されたレプリロイドも人類もあとわずか。もうこれ以上犠牲を出すことはできない。今度こそ地球存亡の危機に関わるであろう。そこで事態を重く見た我々はナイトメア現象の謎を解明すべく疑いのある8つのエリアに調査員を送り込んだ。何せナイトメア現象は を馳せたイレギュラーハンターゼロ。彼の亡霊が原因であるという情報もある。
なんだって？勝手なことを。
待って X、 最後まで聞きましょう。
さて、ここで勇姿を募るとしよう。我々と志を共にする者たちよ、この8人の調査員のもとに集え。我々の目的はナイトメアの撲滅、そしてゼロの亡霊を消すことである。なお、このハイマックスが調査員のリーダーとして参加しておる。我らのところに来れば身の安全は保証しよう。イレギュラーハンターもレプリフォースも今や壊滅状態。未来は我らと共に自らの力で守ろうではないか。待っているぞ諸君。
ふざけてる。ゼロのことをそんな風に。みんなを救うためにゼロは命を懸けて戦ったのに。
今は何を言われても仕方ないわ。事実、ゼロの姿をしたナイトメアが目の前に現れたのよ。私たちも調査する必要があるわね。ナイトメアの正体を。今はアイゾックやハイマックスのことは放っておきましょう。
疑いのあるエリアって言ってたけど、一体どんなところなんだ？調べられないか、エイリア。
ダメだわ。激しい電波障害が起こっていて、ここからでは調べることができないわ。
なら乗り込むしかないな。直接ナイトメアに触れることができるかもしれないし、さっきの調査員っていうのも気になるしな。
ナイトメアか。危険が伴う任務になりそう。正体を突き止め、被害を最小限に抑えなければならない。奴が言っていたように、これ以上レプリロイドを失う。許されない。X、とりあえず一度戻ってくる。
了解。直ちに戻る。
So yeah, essentially, we've got our introduction to our villains of this game. We're going to go through these 8 areas suspected, investigating the Nightmare Zero occurrence, and we're gonna uncover, it's a typical, you're not gonna be surprised, but we're gonna learn some very basic MegaMan X plots going out with this. But, and part of me doing this testing is, some of these cutscenes are long. I'm probably just gonna talk over them from now on, but, we're now beginning our mission to check the 8 areas that Isaac had sent investigators to investigate the nightmare phenomena. But considering the situations of the Maverick Hunters, you are the only hunter who could accomplish these difficult missions. As we've lost Zero, you are our only hope. Can you do it, X? I'll do it. I've just obtained the report on the nightmare areas and the investigators sent to the areas. However, the details of the situations in the areas are still unknown due to bad radar transmission. Also, in case any changes occur in the nightmare area, I'll show you by a red signal. It is difficult to predict what the changes are, though. That's okay. I'll know when I get there. I will discover what the nightmares are and what Isaac's intentions are. Don't push yourself too hard, X. Remember, you are our only hope. Roger. X. What is it, Alia? Nothing. Just be careful. Some Reploids may accept what Isaac says is true and come to the nightmare areas. If you find them, secure them and send them to the hunter base. The Reploids you have rescued can be surveyed here by pressing the R1 button. And if you obtain any items, I'll process them into parts you can use. You could equip the parts with the L1 button. Good luck, X. So, yeah, these are our 8 areas. This is our, there's a lot of Reploids to save in each level. I think that's, 16 per level. This is a mechanic that is very famously talked about with this game because it is very punishing in a lot of ways. We will see that when we actually get into a level. But yeah, yeah, I've played this game so many times. There's a lot of mechanics that'll come up as, you know, I'll talk about them as they come up, but just this game, because of the rush nature of it, it is like one of the hardest Mega Man X games. A lot of these levels we're going to go through and see that they are very punishing in a lot of ways. A lot of instant death traps, a lot of just massive ways to wear you down. But it is like, this game really forged kind of how I approach a lot of games in general. I tend to like really difficult games, and unfortunately for a lot of people, this for, you know, how people might view like this, I don't know how am I gonna say it, I don't know, this is my shit essentially. But we're gonna start here to get something special, and then we'll start through with some real progress through some of these levels. But this is the first Nightmare Investigator, Infinity Maginian. We are not actually going to beat this level though. You'll see very shortly why. But yeah, I don't know. It's just there's some things I want to talk about in terms of like the kind of stage design in this game, but I guess figure I should probably let people see it when we get there. But what's that huge Reploid? You're in the weapons center. They have been constructing powerful weapons without the appropriate approvals. A huge Reploid. I assume it's Illumina. Considering that I couldn't pick up any reading of its activation, it must be a nightmare. There has to be cables which are sending energy to Illumina. Find and destroy them. Good luck. Here we go, the weapons center. We're going to be menaced by this giant robot the whole time. And as you can see, we have to save these Reploids here. When you save them, you get an extra life, you get health restored, you generally can get some items and upgrades from them as well. And the thing you have to watch out for is the tentacle creatures that you see there. They will try and kill the Reploids that we have to save. And you have to touch that Reploid before the enemy touches it. If they touch it, that Reploid dies permanently. They turn into a Maverick. You have to destroy them yourself. And most notably, if that Reploid was to drop any part or a health upgrade, weapon upgrade, you lose that forever for the playthrough. And that is where this game really can be very unforgiving for a lot of new players who are not familiar with the stage layouts. You know, it's very punishing. So you have to be like really able to adapt to a new situation and to be able to like move really quickly to get to those Reploids. Especially in this level, you're gonna see some of these are just like pretty much impossible to get. It's very funny because a lot of levels just, I don't know, there is just this sort of thing where like maybe it didn't get tested enough, maybe you know, things were just rushed in a way that, oof. Let's see, can I get this one? I don't think I can get this one right now. We'll get it later, but and yeah, see, you get a lot. Getting the Reploids though, very important because you really get a lot from just saving them as far as lives, as far as health goes. Oh, there we go. Okay. So if we were wanting to beat this level, we could go ahead and do that by going to the right where the boss is, but we're going to jump into this crystal. And every stage in this game has an alternate path that you can go down. This is the alternate path for the weapons center. If this was your first time doing this level, you probably would have just ran into that immediately and not realized that was how you this is the wrong way to go to beat the level. And here is where the capsule is for this stage. Every X game, you know, you collect armor pieces that upgrade X. So Dr. Lightstang will give you the data for an armor program. Obtain all 4 programs so that the armor will be complete. The one I give you now is the armor program for the blade armor. With your weapon charged fully, hold the up button, press the shot button, then you can attack with the charged blade. So, there's our first part for blade armor. I'm not going to collect this heart tank for now. Also, if you in at these stages, if you talk to this, you generally get a response from X that's like, you know, your navigator Alia is not able to contact you. You're in some bizarre realm. So, this area right here, there are some of these little Reploids that we're saving here, trying to save. Let's kill these first. So if I were to drop down right now, you see that? That Maverick basically spawns directly on top of that NPC, and I can't remember if it is physically possible to get it. I would have to look that up, but it is very unfair. Just one of the many little quirks a lot of the levels in this game have. But we're actually going to reach the boss of this alternate path here, and wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? We already found Nightmare Zero. Look at that. We already found the nightmare. What do you think you're doing? Zero. Where is Zero? You don't need to know that. Ha, it is you who will be eliminated. And so this fight reuses a boss theme from MegaMan X5. But Zero is actually, this Nightmare Zero is weak to Zero's own saber. And so we're gonna beat him up pretty easy. There we go. And look at that, it's our good old buddy Zero. Yeah, so we went through that alternate stage just to unlock Zero early, because, well, unlock him period, but to unlock him immediately because I prefer playing these games as Zero. I really like Zero's moveset, especially in this game. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. And so we're going to do a playthrough of X6 as Zero. Yeah. So this scene has one of the most famous lines for the translation of this game. Right here. Again, it was just very rushed in a lot of ways, which is very fascinating to me for one thing, because it does give you this very interesting setup for this game where pretty much every Mega Man game that got localized had licensed music that got taken out. If you play any of the other X games on PlayStation, if you play any of the re-releases of any of these games, there is no licensed music. They put some pretty generic tracks over those intros and the endings. And this game is, like, I believe the only one that's still released in the US with those songs intact. Which, by the way, if you are interested, I would highly recommend looking up the the music video for The Answer by Shotaro Morikubo, because it is just a perfect, like, angsty J-rock of the, I guess, early 2000s. I can't remember if it came out in 2000 or whatever, but highly recommended. So we found a mysterious item. It's related to the nightmare. Let's call it the Nightmare Soul. Collect the souls to increase ranking. As your hunter ranking increases, you'll be able to equip parts. Higher your ranking, the more you can equip parts. When you achieve GA rank, you can equip limited parts. And yeah, you can use them one time only. So those blue orbs we connect from the tentacle Mavericks. Those are souls. They give us these kinds of ability to have upgrades here. Pretty simple. I mean, it's ends up being very grindy if you want to max the rank to be able to equip the most number of parts. Don't really recommend it. But now that we have Zero, we're mostly going to be focusing on playing as him, and he'll be collecting most of the souls. So we'll be able to equip a few parts as we go through. I know that you've only just returned, but I need to ask you something. Will you help X and carry out the missions? It is my job. I am a Maverick Hunter. I have been away for a while, but I am ready to fight for peace. And so now that we've finished a level, in some ways, 2 levels here just started appearing red. What does that mean? Well, every time you beat a level in this game, there are 2 stages that are connected to that level that will turn red, and that means these are affected by nightmare phenomena. And these actually change how the stage layout works in some ways. There's going to be new obstacles, new environmental hazards that are going to slow you down. And we're going to see one of those right now as we start our first level as Zero. Get a little bit of water there, but yeah, as far as what my plans are for, you know, doing Let's Plays in general, I'm a little stuck on what I actually want to do. I really like to play RPGs. Those games are, you know, not the best to do a Let's Play on just because of how long they are, and I don't know if I have the stamina or the time commitment to be able to do that. We're getting a new part out, you know, we'll figure it out. I might end up playing a lot of fan translations. I might try to play some small games that way, play weird things, play kusoge. I might just try to think about, like, what are things I want to show people that people might not have seen. That might be the way I do it. I have not been talking about the stage or is playing as Zero. Let's start with Zero. So you might notice he's not red. The code I put in at the start of the game is to give black armor Zero. That is, you know, it's just a preference thing because it increases his damage output, and also he will take 50% less damage, which is kind of important for this game, because you are going to be taking a lot of damage just generally. Okay, I'm not good enough to get that right now, but we'll come back for that at some point. You also notice that I can't fucking see shit in this level. The nightmare phenomena that I was talking about causes stage hazards to appear, and one of those hazards is this diamond darkness effect that is preventing us from being able to see in front of us. It is pretty obnoxious. We'll see the level that actually starts doing this at some point later, but all the nightmare phenomena hazards are hazards from another stage, and it just affects, and it just puts those hazards in a second stage. You know, Zero in this game, he's got his saber, and I almost died right there. He's got his saber, very familiar. 3-hit combo. He's also got a buster. The buster's got some very fun things we can do with it in some bosses. I don't know if I'm good enough to be able to show that off, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, so since I've played this game a lot, I actually, you know, I've looked up speed runs, I've looked up a lot of glitch tech that is in this game over the many playthroughs I've done, and there's this game, you can do a lot of really silly stuff with it. Oh, okay, there we go. I was worried I was about to fall into a pit for a second. Let's see. Let's make sure I get all the Reploids out here. Let's see. Yeah, Zero in particular has like a lot of movement tech in this game. He has a lot, not only just movement tech, but like glitches and other like ways to just really, I mean, this is kind of true of like almost every game that Zero is in. I feel like that he's got this, but I might show him off for a boss or two. I might show off a little movement tech. He just gets a lot of animation cancels that really let you both increase your movement speed and increase your damage output. I don't know if I'll be able to show it on this boss. I might see if I can do some of it. You're the Nightmare Investigator, Commander Yamark. Yes, I'm in charge of the Amazon area. Tell me, what will you do with the Nightmare? Are you serious? It is your silly toy. Maverick Hunters and Ripplade researchers are all liars. I may end up betrayed and deleted, so I will delete you first. So let's see. Yeah, so the thing with Zero that you can do, if you do a sword slash and then immediately dash within a few frames of doing that, you can cancel the sword animation, and it actually cancels the boss's iframes. So you can really quickly kill a boss like that without worrying about recovery periods. That's one of the things that Zero can do in this game. So there we go. Once you've beat an actual boss, you know, you learn what your weapon is. We got the Yammer option, which is going to create a circle of dragonflies that follow us. See, we got life ups and weapon energy ups from some of those rescues we got in this level. Every level's Reploids have a theme to the name of their NPCs that you save. Some of them are named after Capcom game characters. Some of them are named, you know, there's a lot of things like that. It'll show you what items you get at the end of it, tell you their names. You're not going to get much info about them, but... And you also get a report from Alia about the boss. Commander Yamark, an ex-investigator in the Amazon area. He was a Reploid created for the Nature Preservation Project. He burnt the furious forest by controlled disorder. He wasn't accused of the incident, but someone altered Yamark's flying system. He crashed and died. He was created by my colleague, Gate. So... The reports in this game are very funny because it is going to very often be Alia talking about how she did some kind of horrendously unethical evil thing to kill or destroy the guy you fight, who then got revived by Gate. And so there'll be a lot more of those as we go through. Yeah, and we got a cutscene showing that Gate and Izok are working together. That the Nightmare investigation was just a front. Shock. But yeah, as far as... I don't know, when I was trying to pick games to do this test run with, I was thinking, like, you know, I could play this. I was thinking about doing Echo Knight, because that's a very short game from FromSoft. A really good adventure game that I think, like, not enough people played. So I might do that at some point. I might just pick up fan translations as they come out and try to do that. I don't know. If people have suggestions for games that they think I could potentially try out, or games you would want to hear my thoughts on, I would certainly be welcome to consider them, but otherwise, you know, I'll figure it out on my own. Anything I do, though, is probably going to be very irregularly uploaded, just knowing my schedule and knowing my commitment. But I will try my best. I'm probably going to try and keep these episodes like between 30 minutes to an hour, just for the sake of my energy, my stamina, and for not giving people a load of homework to just like sit down with at a time. So I think that'll probably work best. But yeah. Oh yeah, and if you mash, you do skip dialogue. I've skipped dialogue a couple times here by accident, and it's just what it is. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I'll just... pretty simple. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely like, as I go through this, I'm immediately like, do I want to sit through all the dialogue? I am someone who's like a habitual button masher. So, you know, the tension of playing a game like I usually do versus performing for an audience, very different. And, you know, these are going to be scuffed. I don't really want to be professional. I don't want to put in that effort. I'm not going to do that. I don't know if I'll do I'm not. I mean, I'll make maybe a basic thumbnail. I don't know, but you're gonna just get. You're just gonna get my footage. It's gonna be scuffed. My audio is probably gonna be scuffed. I'm interested in doing this, but I'm not doing this professionally in any way whatsoever. So yeah, we're at our second level. It's the museum. This level is slightly randomized. This level is randomized just in general. Each time we enter one of these totem poles, we get sent to a zone. That zone, there's like 3 or 4 different outcomes, I think, of like what the pattern could be, of what the layout you see is. And unfortunately for completionists, that means you're going to be playing this level a lot to try and get everything. Including the alternate path. The alternate path for this level only appears in one level pattern. And so you really just have to hope you get it if you want to get like the armor piece that is in this level. If you want to, you know, get to the secret bosses like that. Let's see, there we go. Let's see, can I show this off? Let's see. And one of the things, so one of the movement techs that you'll see in speedruns, let's see if I can do it. Yeah. Trying to see if I'm doing it. I don't know. But there's a thing you can do where, the reason I actually don't do it is because this is like, it is immensely like labor intensive movement tech in this game. You can cancel out of the animation frames that end dashes, but you have to hold down forward basically the whole time that you're doing the dashes, and it just really wears out your hand fast. And I have wrist problems, so I don't use tech like that in games like these. Even as fun as it is, there's some other glitches based on like some falling environmental objects that damage you where you can make yourself invulnerable. A lot of fun stuff like that in this game. But just not me. I will do the stuff that makes the bosses die fast because that's fun sometimes. But I'm not a movement tech sicko in that way. Unless like, you know, unless it's not super intensive to pull off, then I will absolutely do that because I do absolutely love to like move fast and like break movement in games and stuff. Just a kind of way that I like to play these games. I mean, I like to move fast in general. That's why I like playing the MegaMan X games over the original Mega Man games for the Nintendo, because these games just have a movement and flow to them that, to me, just feels a bit better than the deliberate slow movements that you get in some of those Mega Man games. And, you know, they did make some of the Mega Man games move faster. But this really, like, crystallizes the really just kinds of spacing to a platformer that I like in general. I always like to play platformers that are... If I'm playing a platformer or an action game or something like that, I'd want it to be moving pretty fast. And that's just my taste. But we're here, Ground Scaravich. There's also a glitch that you can pull off with this guy here. I'll try it once or twice, see if I can get it, but I'm not gonna worry too much. Ground Scaravich, why do you need to steal from another ruin? You seem to be very close to the nightmares. I am cursed, I know it. You are Zero, I heard you were dead. I really wanted to obtain your DNA data, but I no longer need it. What do you mean? You can fight me to find out. Let's see here. Trying to remember how this... So yeah, as you destroy this guy's orbs, they get bigger and bigger. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna do it for me. Again, I don't know enough about manipulating, Yeah, so the thing is, as this guy's turning, you can use the Buster, and if you hit him while he's in that turning animation, the Buster will damage him for every single frame of that animation, which is very funny. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I'm not an actual speedrunner. I will never lab out. You will never catch me labbing things. I don't do. That's why I've never done speedrunning or anything like that. I'm really just more interested in playing things at my own pace. So got the ground dash for 0, and that's for X, and then for 0 we get the Sensuizan. So press attack and down in the air. Zero's attacks are all button combination, usually based on like your movement or your ground and air positioning. There's a couple exceptions like the Yammer option and one more thing that we're gonna get. Okay, so we got some good parts here. Speedster is going to increase our running speed. Ground Scaravage, an ex-treasure hunter. He was devoted to the research on an ancient site. He also had lots of research data on ancient robots. Gate took care of Scaravage in exchange for the ancient data. Gate improved his knowledge from him. Then Gate had him go to a forbidden area. It was the place that you were both discovered. I saw Scaravage enter the place. I felt bad, but I disposed him. Gate didn't seem to care. I didn't want to remember this. Thanks, Alia. Yeah, we're not quite at an hour, but I think doing one more stage would probably push us over. I think that's a good spot for me to stop. Again, this is all really just a test run for me. It's actually kind of hard to talk about this game in some ways. I don't know, it might be more interesting to talk about a game I haven't played, to try and like figure things out about it and discuss my thoughts going through it, but I don't know. We're figuring things out. I just wanted to make something and put it out there, you know, rather than figuring out whether I'm doing it right, what am I exactly doing. Should try at least start at the point of just making something and just putting it out there, and then figuring out the scale, the scope, the methodology that I want to go through in talking about games, sharing games with people. Figure that out later on as I like get more comfortable just making the thing to begin with. So anyone who stuck around to just listen to me talk about this, thanks. I'll play more of this. I might try and just bang this whole thing out this week or something like that. We'll figure it out, and if you have any suggestions, anything you might want to see me do, just let me know, or don't, you know, it's whatever. But thanks for coming. I'm Penny, and you can catch me around.